As a kid, all a nigga wanna have was a Burberry scarf and $3 in my pocket. Instead I got beat with a switch, but I don't give a fuck, but it's on my body. Scars all up on me, but I run around from everybody. Life lesson learned, I better learn from this bitch, nobody. She pushed me around, she didn't give no motherfucks about it. She broke my heart 3 times, but I ain't getting...
How does NFL playoff picture look going into week 10 of the NFL season? Now, the NFL recently expanded the playoffs to 7 teams. And for those of you guys who are a little bit confused about how this new 17 playoff format is going to work, I'm going to be explaining it to you guys, breaking it down to you guys so you guys can understand. So each conference will have 7 teams participating in the playoffs. And out of those 7 teams, only 1 team from each conference will have a first round bye. Now, in the past, 2 teams will have a first round bye. You have your 1 seed and your 2 seed who normally used to have the first round bye. Now this year with the new 17 playoff format, only 1 team from each conference will have a first round bye, which is going to be given to the team who has the number 1 overall seed. Now the other 6 teams will be competing on wild card weekend. Now the first 4 teams who win their division, those guys are going to be hosting their wild card matchups. So the 2 seed will be hosting the 7th seed, the 3 seed will be hosting the 6th seed, and the 4th seed will be hosting the 5th seed. Now, let's take a look at how the playoff picture looks for the AFC heading into week 10 first. So currently in the AFC right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers have the number 1 overall seed. So if the playoffs were to start today, the Steelers would have a first round bye. They currently have a record of 8-0. They are the only remaining team left in the NFL with an undefeated record. The Kansas City Chiefs have the number 2 seed. They're currently 8-1. The Buffalo Bills have the number 3 seed. They are currently 7-2. And the Tennessee Titans have the number 4 seed with a record of 6-2. Those are your 4 divisional winners. So those 4 teams, excluding the Pittsburgh Steelers, will be hosting their wild card matchups if the playoffs were to start today. The other 3 teams are the 3 teams that are in the wild card spot. They will be traveling on the road to face whoever has the higher seeds of the teams that they play. So the Ravens have the number 5 seed with a record of 6-2. The Raiders have the number 6 seed with a record of 5-3. And the Miami Dolphins have the 7th seed right now for a record of 5-3. Now, even though the Raiders and the Dolphins currently have the 6 and 7 seed, really, they're currently top. The other teams who are in the hunt, like the Cleveland Browns are in the hunt with a record of 5-3. The Colts are 5-3. And the Denver Broncos and the New England Patriots are on the outside looking in with both having records of 3-5. So the 6 and the 7 seed are pretty much up for grabs. The Browns, the Colts, the Raiders, the Dolphins, they're all jockeying for those wildcard spots as of right now heading into week 10. Now, in terms of the Tennessee Titans and the Indianapolis Colts, if the Tennessee Titans lose to the Indianapolis Colts this Thursday on Thursday Night Football, then the Colts will end up taking that number 4 seed, and the Titans will end up having that number 5 or number 6 seed in the playoff standings or in the playoff picture. So with the Colts and Titans playing this Thursday, there's going to be a lot of playoff seeding and a lot of playoff implications at stake in that game, because that's going to be to decide who's going to end up taking control of the AFC South. Now, for the Broncos and the New England Patriots, they currently have a lot of work that they have to do if they want to get into at least the playoff picture, because as of right now, they're just on the outside looking in. They have a record of 3-5. The Colts, the Browns, the Dolphins, the Raiders, they're all in that conversation for those 6 and 7 spots right now in the wild card. Now, for the Pittsburgh Steelers, if they lose this week to the Cincinnati Bengals, then they're going to be tied for the number 1 overall seed with the Kansas City Chiefs. So that is how things look in terms of the playoff picture for the AFC conference. Now, the NFC has a lot going on right now, because there are currently 3 teams right now that are tied for that number 1 overall seed in the NFC. You have the Seattle Seahawks at 6-2, the Packers at 6-2, and the New Orleans Saints at 6-2. All 3 of those teams are battling to see who's going to end up having that number 1 seed. Now, the Seattle Seahawks currently have a record of 6-2. And as of right now, they have control of their division, which I think the Seattle Seahawks should end up winning that NFC West division. So they should end up clinching one of those 4 playoff spots. Now the Green Bay Packers are currently 6-2 right now, and the Buccaneers are 6-3. So if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New Orleans Saints end up having the same record, let's say both of those two teams end up going 12-4, then the New Orleans Saints will end up having the 3 seed or one of those 4 playoff spots, since they own the tiebreaker over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because they defeated them twice. So the Philadelphia Eagles have the 4th seed right now, and the reason why the Philadelphia Eagles have the 4th seed right now is because they are currently number 1 in the division. A lot of you guys may be a little bit thrown off by the record. You're probably going to be like, JT, how are the Philadelphia Eagles a higher seed than the Buccaneers and the Cardinals and the Rams when they have a worse record? The reason for that is because they're currently number 1 in their division. If you win your division, regardless of your record in your division, you automatically get one of the you automatically get one of the first 4 seeds in the playoffs. So if you win your division, you automatically clinch one of those first 4 seeds in the playoffs, and you automatically host a home field game for the first round of the playoffs. So the Philadelphia Eagles have a record of 3-4-1. They have the 4th seed. I know that may look a little bit weird, but that's how it goes. If you win your division, regardless of your record, you clinch one of those first 4 seeds in the playoffs. Now the Buccaneers currently have the 5th seed with a record of 6-3. They have a 1-game lead on everybody else. The Cardinals have the 6th seed with a record of 5-3, and the Rams have the 7th seed with a record of 5-3 as well. So the Cardinals and the Rams are currently tied right now. If you want to be a little bit more literal and a little bit more technical with the playoff seedings, both the Rams and the Cardinals are tied for the 6th and 7th seed. Then you have the Chicago Bears, who are in the hunt at 5-4. If the Rams end up losing or the Cardinals end up losing this week and either one of those teams drops to 5-4, then they're going to be tied for the Chicago Bears in terms of playoff seeding for one of those 6 or 7 seeds heading into week 11. So the rest of the teams are on the outside looking in. For you to be on the outside looking in, you are nowhere close. You're kind of like a game or 2 back for being in the hunt. So the 49ers, the Vikings, and the Lions are all 3 on the outside looking in. The 49ers are 4-5 right now, and the Vikings are 3-5, and the Detroit Lions are 3-5 as well. So those teams, the 49ers, the Vikings, and the Lions, all have a lot of ground to make up if they want to be in the playoff conversation right now. So those teams are on the bubble. The Chicago Bears are on the outside looking in. All they really need is for the Rams or the Cardinals to lose, and they're pretty much will be tied for one of those playoff spots. So, for the Chicago Bears, if they win this week and the Cardinals or the Rams lose, they will overtake one of those teams for either the 6th or the 7th seed. So, if one of those 2 teams loses and the Chicago Bears win, then they're going to end up jumping into the playoff conversation. They're going to end up having either that 6th or that 7th seed. So this is how the playoff picture looks heading into week 10 of the NFL season. I know it may sound a little bit confusing for a lot of you guys watching because this is the first year of the new playoff system. I hope I was able to explain it the best way possible. Let's go over the NFC one more time. So the NFC has 3 teams that are all tied for the number 1 overall seed. The Packers, the Saints, and the Seahawks all have a record of 6-2. The Eagles have the number 4th seed right now. They have a record of 3-4-1. The reason why they have that 4th seed right now is because if you win your division, then you end up clinching one of those first 4 seeds in the playoffs, and you end up hosting a home field game for the first round of the playoffs. The Buccaneers are number 5 right now with a record of 6-3. The Cardinals and the Rams are both at the 6 and 7 seed. They both have a record of 5-3. If one of those teams loses this week and the Chicago Bears end up winning, then the Chicago Bears end up overtaking one of those teams, whoever ends up losing. And for the 49ers, Vikings, and the Lions, all 3 of those teams are on the outside looking in. So this is it for my NFL Week 10 playoff picture update. Let me know what you guys think about the playoff race so far. Let me know who you guys think is going to end up taking that 6 or 7 seed. Do you think Chicago Bears is going to win this week? Do you think the Cardinals or the Rams are going to be able to lose or hang on to their spots? Let me know. Make sure you guys like the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you're listening to this on podcast format, make sure that you guys go ahead and share this podcast with your friends, your family, your acquaintances on social media. Also, make sure that you leave the podcast a 5-star review if you haven't already. And thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And take care.